So I represent Greece. I'm very, very happy to be with you all. My music is dark pop and has glitch, cinematic, and jazz elements. This is our fourth album that we are going to be touring Europe with. We are embarking on our European tour on the 9th of May, and I'd like to meet all of you. I'm passing by most of the countries in Hemi, apart from Estonia, which is, oh my God, so far away. So we are performing also as a trio, as well as a quartet and quintet, depending on the circumstances and availability. I've been around for a decade. We actually have our 10-year birthday this year. And I am the producer, singer, songwriter, and video editor of the band, as well as a touring manager, you name it. I practically do everything that comes into hand. And I want to keep doing this for as long as my feet and my hands can handle me. And I'm very, very happy. And I'm also a singing and songwriting teacher. And I think that's about it.
Well, that's great. That was a good introduction. Well done. Thank you for that. Is it Eva? Who is that? How I say your name, Eva? I see you next.
Eva, yeah.
Hi, Eva.
Hi. My name is Eva. Me and the other my friend that joined Petra. We are singers from the band Maika from Serbia.
Yeah.
So we are a world music band. You can say it like that. So we combine many genres like Balkan traditional like music with trumpets and with electronic music, punk, rock, whatever we like at the moment. So yeah, currently we are working on our second album. We don't know, it's supposed to be finished at the end of the year, but we are still working on it. So we are happy to play live again, because we had like a little pause after the pandemic and everything. So this we want to use this opportunity to get back to live shows and everything.
Where are you? Where are you both living or residing?
Currently, I'm in Belgrade.
And I'm back home in Slovenia, because I'm actually from Slovenia, but my love for the band takes me back to Serbia. So
great.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. So that leaves Artur. Artur, hello.
Yeah, that's me. Hello, guys. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Artur, and I'm from the band Klavo. We represent Poland, and we're a 7-piece jazz funk band from Gdańsk. It's in the very north, so at the Baltic Sea, and we've been playing together for like about 3 years now. Yeah, we started in the middle of the first wave of COVID. We're like a COVID band, sort of. This is where we started playing shows kind of in between the particular waves in Poland. And we've had one album since then, and played quite a lot of shows around the country. Actually, in a couple of weeks, we're going to play our first international show in Slovakia, so we're super excited.
Good.
And we are heading studio to record our second album this August, probably.
Oh, good. Well, Artur, it's lovely to meet you, as it is to meet everyone else. That was really amazing introduction. So hopefully that's broken the ice a little bit. I have to move my cursor to see if I can move the slide. There we go. So my name is Mandy Salem Aubry. I have almost 30 years experience working throughout the music industry. My particular area of expertise is in music publishing, copyright and rights management. And in my last role at Songtrust, which is the world's largest technology solution for global music publishing, royalty collection and administration, you can tell I'm reading that, I led the expansion across Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. My mission is to provide music creators in established and emerging music markets alike with global music publishing administration, and a collection infrastructure. And prior to working at Song Trust, I spent 10 years at Vintage House, which is another music publishing administrator. And there I took care of numerous clients, including Jason Mraz, Tori Amos. I don't know if there's any guitarists among you, but Polyphia, when I looked after Polyphia, I didn't realize how amazing they are as guitarists. I wish I had at that time, but you should check them out now. As well as a lot of audiovisual copyrights, such as MRC's House of Cards, Hasbro, and in my time, I've even looked after the Smurfs catalogue. And before working in music publishing, I worked in the International Department of Roadrunner Records, and there I began in international promotions, and later I moved into product management. And I was there for 9 years, during which time I worked with bands like Slipknot, Machine Head, Typo Negative, Sepultura, Soulfly, and many, many more. So this is my 3rd year collaborating with Hemi and the Music Awards. And I've always found the collaboration to be extremely fulfilling for both sides. And I sincerely hope that you will find it to be fulfilling as well. Which brings me to the subject for today's workshop, the business of music. So as I put in the description, it's amazing that you've made it this far. And now you're a finalist for the Hemi Music Awards. Well done. But the business of music can be really daunting and confusing. And in this, it will be an informal workshop, I hope. We will discuss some ways to maximize the opportunity you have before you in order to best profit from the Hemi mentors and the community at your disposal. And we will talk about ways to prioritize your goals, to remain focused, and to navigate the music business in the best way to suit you at this time. And we'll also focus on how to successfully build your network. The music industry is as much about who you know as what you know. And so building your network is really, it takes time, especially if you're new to it, but it's really crucial to have one. And there are numerous tactics and best practices that one can adopt to ensure that one's network swiftly, efficiently, and effectively grows and flourishes for the mutual benefit of all parties. And all too often, opportunities are missed because of short-sightedness. Now, you must excuse me that I read some of my notes, but you'll get to know me that I'm quite a chatterbox. Olga knows that. So I often read what I'm going to say so that I don't go off-piste as much as I can. But I want to go off-piste here for a minute because I particularly wanted to, I really love people and I want them to really, really succeed. And having worked with Hemi quite a lot before, I just thought, wow, I think that where it's sometimes not as successful as it could be is because of the basic building blocks of how to live in the Hemi network and to make the most of this opportunity. And I'm really understanding of, like, Leah, you have a lot of experience, but you have a lot of experience in a lot of areas. So how are you going to stop yourself going, woo, I've got to do all this because I've got all this stuff to do, you know? That is in itself as much of a problem as some of the people here who, with all due respect, I see as having less experience, but an overwhelming task and an opportunity ahead of you. So it's like that balance, which can only come with experience and good guidance, is what Hemi hopes to provide you with, because whilst you come from different places in terms of your experience, this is a level playing field, and any of you will, well, you've already, winners, losers, it's not that. You're all winners, right? And that's not a cliche. You are all already winners, but there is obviously going to be some extra opportunity at the end. So that's why I thought, okay, I'm going to get this done early so that I can do what I can to help you to approach what comes next with your other opportunities as part of the Hemi Music Awards, you know, to do them the best. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about mentoring, goal setting, reviewing methods, logging your experiences, and of course, networking today. So I'm going to recap on the Hemi Music Awards. What is it? It's a talent program for artists who seek professional support. to help, I'll go on, it says here, to help them break through the borders, reach new audiences, and develop an international career. Now, before I start this section, I want to disclose that in addition to being a Hemi mentor, I'm also a Key Change mentor. And Key Change is a pioneering international initiative which transforms the future of music whilst encouraging festivals and music organizations to achieve a 50-50 gender balance by 2022. And up to 74 emerging artists and innovators each year from across Europe and Canada will take part in international festivals, showcase events, collaborations, and a program of creative labs. And Key Change aims to accelerate change and create a better, more inclusive music industry for the present and future generations. Now, a huge part of Key Change strategy is mentoring, just as it is for Hemi. And because I'm doing both in tandem, I've seen such synergies in how I can improve as a mentor and help you to improve your experience as mentees through the great education that I've had from being a Key Change mentor. I've had a look at the mentee, we'll call it, guidelines that they gave. And I'm going to acknowledge what I've done. I have taken a lot from there. I mean, it's not private anyway, but they've put it together so perfectly that I've taken quite a lot of it to tell you today and for us to talk about, because their mentor program is really just amazing. So I can't really make it up better from their experience. So I hope you see the synergy between their mentor program and ours here. It is different. Key Change mentees, they receive months and months of ongoing mentorships with the same mentor. And with Hemi, and Olga, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I remember and understand it, you may each end up with a one-to-one with me, for example, but also with another person or other people. But what you won't have is 5 sessions with me. So we're not going to talk about what you want to achieve right now and how it will leave you in 5 months' time or 4 months' time. So it's slightly different, but the goals and guidelines are in general very similar. And I would like to spend a few moments going through those. So what is mentoring? Professional support, also known as mentoring, is usually a one-to-one relationship. So in our world, it will be with different mentors through the Hemi network, usually over a set period of time in which someone with more confidence and or experience, a mentor, provides consistent support, guidance, and practical help for a less confident and or experienced person, a mentee. So in the Hemi world, Hemi is your mentor with its branches of all of us. And then the mentees will be not just you, but your band members as well. And that's going to get quite complicated because you may need to talk separately about how you align as a band, or when there's more than one of you, or if there's a manager and an artist. So it will have nuances. So this is not inflexible, what I'm going to say. It's voluntary, in which the mentee or the mentor can end at any time. It's a two-way process in which the mentor shares their personal skills, knowledge, and experience with the mentee to enable them to explore their personal and professional situation, and in which the mentor and mentee work together to achieve predetermined goals and objectives. And it's a way of enabling the mentee to gain the skills, knowledge, and confidence to perform at a higher level, and of giving them access to confidential, impartial, non-judgmental guidance and support. And the aim of mentoring is to give the mentees the opportunity to think about their aspirations and the challenges that they are facing, and to explore ways to overcome them to achieve their goals. And there are 5 steps in the process of identifying challenges and making decisions about what to do next. So when it comes to challenges, the sort of questions that you may be asking are, what are the challenges you're facing? And what stops you from doing things? And then there's choices. What options do you have? And what options have you already tried or discarded? And then there's consequences. What are the most likely consequences of that course of action? Creative solutions, looking at things from a different angle where anything is possible. So having someone else's perspective is often very helpful, or getting out of your normal world in your normal bubble to talk about things is very helpful. And what other options can you come up with now? And finally, the conclusions. What actions are you going to take? And what steps will you need to take to overcome the set challenges and to achieve your goals? I'm just gonna, so what is the job of a mentee? It's to take responsibility for their own learning, actively to shape the mentoring conversation or activity, to accept a challenge or a constructive comment, to be open and honest about themselves, and to have realistic expectations that are shared and agreed with the mentor. And what is a mentor not expected to do? They're not expected, many will, but they're not expected to open their personal contact book to the mentee, nor to act as a parent, a counselor, or a therapist, to dispense discipline. I hope none would do that. They are not expected to give directive advice or tell the mentee what to do. And they're not meant to sort out all the mentee's problems. So before I go on to the next part, would anyone like to speak about anything that I've said? I hope you haven't found it patronizing that I've gone into the details of this. But it just occurred to me that no one ever told me, like, you know, people just say, oh, you're gonna get you're a mentee and you're gonna get a mentor, but like what exactly are you supposed to do when you get one? So does anyone have any comments at all about the first part? You don't have to, but it would be lovely if we can, you know, treat this as a really nice open conversation we're a small group of people. So anyone? No?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you choose which mentor gets which mentee?
Funny, I can't see all the people on the screen, so I can't see your face, but I think it's because I can't move my cursor to see more people. Olga, I don't know, what is the process that will happen with the awards and who's going to mentor whom later?
So you actually in this HMA program, you don't have really one mentor, as Mandy was quoting before. You have a pool of experts that you will meet during this period of these 3 months. And if you remember, you were asked to fill in a questionnaire, an evaluation questionnaire. So we have a team of some of our partners that are members of our HMA working group. And they are making an Excel sheet with some blocks where they really see all of your questions, and from all of them, they get the responses of which mentor would be best for you to see. So this is a process that I will explain to you after the Easter holidays. The process of meeting, I will get back to you and I will propose to you some mentors to meet from our pool. And then again, you can always select on your own if you want an additional mentor to take advice from, but this is basically the procedure.
I mean, in this world, you can argue that expert is mentorship, you know, because it's guidance to help you to get to the goal, which was, again, sorry to make you dizzy, to help you to break through the borders, reach new audiences and develop an international career. And that might only be a couple of sentences there, in fact, one sentence, but it's a lot more difficult. So just to recap on, you know, the points there, you know, it is voluntary. It is a two-way process to get the most out of it. It's a way to get skills and knowledge and confidence to perform at a higher level. And that will take some thought and objectivity on your part to think about what you could gain. you can have access to confidential, impartial, non-judgmental guidance and support. And then you may want to jot these down, but to think about things like, what are the challenges you're facing? What stops you doing things? What options you have? What have you tried? What didn't work? What did work? And the consequences of your action, and finding solutions, and then coming up with conclusions. Does anyone have more questions before I move to the next part? No? Okay. As I say, I for some reason can only see 5 of you, and I'm afraid to touch anything to change this. I don't know why I can't change this to see the rest of you. It won't go to the right place. So so forgive me. But when we stop sharing the screen, then I'll be able to see you. So obviously goal setting is really important in this process. It's very important for you right now as well. And it's very important for the people who are going to work with you during this process. So we've started with the first paragraph that it's the Hemi Music Awards is a talent program for artists who seek professional support. So that's the experts and Hemi, of course, to help them break through the borders, reach new audiences, and develop an international career. So goal setting is an integral part of the process. In order to ensure that you move closer to your goals, our goal of equipping you with tailor-made business advice aimed at helping you to expand your career beyond your home country, we're going to ask some questions. Do you all have a pen and some paper or something to write on? Perhaps I'm a bit old-fashioned asking about a pen and paper. You probably all use your phones and laptops, but I used to use a pen and paper. So I'm going to ask the first question. And it may be hard for you to answer these, which is as much part of the test, okay? What are your top 3 career aspirations? So I'm going to give you just, maybe just a few seconds. So top 3 career aspirations. And I'll try to see if I can see you more in the meantime. Oops, everyone's still here, right, Olga? Yeah. Okay, that's all of you. Of course, now I can't. Okay, hey, I think I did it. All right, next question. What are your top 3 strengths? Let's see a few more heads down. Okay, the last one, I think maybe it's not the last one, but what are your top 3 development areas? What are you hoping to get out of the, let's call them expert sessions? Okay. How did you find that exercise? Does anyone dare speak? Okay, Arthur.
Yeah, so for me, I really like the questions, and I find myself kind of struggling to answer all of them immediately. And it just showed me that, right, those are the things that I should actually take into consideration and maybe take some time in order to get the answers that might be like the most, they're like not the best, but like the most
Productive.
productive. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine when you first saw the Hemi opportunity, it's very exciting, and it's like, you know, there's a lot of things that will more naturally come to you to say like, okay, export ready, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. But in order to, it's not like a miracle that can happen that suddenly you've been to Hemi or part of Hemi and everything changes in your career. It is definitely going to be a two-way, more than two people, of course, but a partnership of minds. And a lot of times people find it difficult to move forwards because they don't quite know where they want to be or what they want to do, or they're just too scattered. But we can talk about that afterwards. Do you mind if I pick names? Would anyone, I don't want it to be like the classroom, but can I just pick someone? And if you really don't want to speak, I promise not to judge you, but I'm going to start with Dina. Dina, how did you find the task?
Hi. Well, I wrote some things. I don't have 3 of every, but I wrote some.
But did you
top of my mind? Should I read something?
It's up to you. I mean, we can take this wherever. You know, I think that it's not so much yet, but we can do that next about what people wrote. But why don't we just start with the fact of having to think about what it is that we're here to do and why we want to do it, and just sort of share share experience, because I think we're all different people with different personalities, right? So some people like if I hope it doesn't show, but like I've been thinking about this workshop for quite a few weeks, couple of weeks, since I said to Olga I'd do it, but I couldn't make myself do the slides till about 2 o'clock today because it was hard. I had a lot in my mind. I knew in the back of my mind it would all be all right anyway, because it's always all right, but I didn't quite know how best to go about it, so I procrastinated. But then all of that was in my mind, and then I did it a solid, attentive hour, and I did it. And then I even had time for a snooze on the sofa, you know? So it's like everyone has different methods, depending on the comfort zone and experience and whatever. And some people will spend a long time, and some people will spend other things. So just the act of thinking about what you want to do, or to be asked to write things down as quickly as I just asked you to do it. It's just we all approach things in different ways. So whilst we're in this together, comparing with each other is not going to be effective. It's supposed to be productive. Okay. All right. Let's ask. Is it Jaka or Yaka? I don't think we met you at the beginning. I don't think you spoke. If you wanted to say.
Yes, it's Yaka.
Yaka. Okay. Hi.
Yaka, yes. Hello.
Hello.
About the questions, right?
Yeah, but you can also say, where are you from? Because at the beginning we introduced each other, and unless I'm going senile, I don't think you were there at that point. And it would just be like,
I was, but you probably just didn't see me or something.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No, it's not a problem. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jaka. I'm from the band The Crossroads. Blaž is also with me. He's the guitarist.
Hi.
And we are from Slovenia, from the capital city, Ljubljana. We are playing indie pop / rock music. And in January, we released our first single called My Love. And yeah, that's
Here you are. Okay, good. Well, congratulations. Nice to meet you both. So tell me, how did you find the exercise of starting to think about what your goals are and those questions that I fired at you?
I found them a bit difficult a bit difficult to answer, but I think they are crucial to proceed in a good direction.
Good, good. Okay. Let me see. I don't know how to say this person. Is it Nate? I think Nate is camera shy, but that's okay. Maybe microphone shy too. Okay. Alicia? No.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Hi. Oh,
Can you see me?
oh, I see you. Yes. Hello. Nice to
Right.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm from Klawo, from Poland, from Gdańsk, and I think that the three career aspirations we have, at least for now, is to reach the public abroad, because we were playing mostly in Poland, and we want to move forward and start playing in other countries. And the other one is, I think, to record the second album this summer. I don't know if these are too big goals or if it's okay.
There's no too big, too small. You can talk
correct.
about that.
Yeah. So that would be the second aspiration. And the third one is to establish where is the part of us being just friends, and where is the part of us being, in a band, which is also kind of a company we are creating.
Wow, that's
and
a
that
question.
it is a way of living, way of earning money, because our goal is to earn money from that. So that would be like the main goal, maybe not particularly put in the time schedule, but it should be for sure.
That's a super one. I'm sorry, but I'm very passionate about your third goal, because that's about making your love of playing and writing, I suppose, music into the business of music. But you're sort of thinking even more long term, like, how are we going to do that fairly, and how are we going to stay friends while we do it?
Yeah.
So this is like huge goals that I think everyone can relate to as well. And I think that instantly inspires a very clear expert that you need in terms of that side. But I shouldn't go on about that too much yet. But that's very interesting that you think like that. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before I go on to the next person?
I mean, I usually talk too much, so maybe you should stop me.
No.
But about those top 3 strengths, then I would like to say that we're creative, we're ambitious, and we are curious. But with that comes the tendency to distract. So these are the strengths, and but I think that there's one main problem that is blocking them.
Yeah.
And about the development areas, we're actually focusing on learning how to manage, how to, because we don't have a leader. We are like 7 people equally responsible for the band, so we're like want to develop how to do it, but how to make it super effective,
Wow, that's hard.
How to work,
Well, I mean, I love that you've thought about that. Would anyone else like to maybe Victor? Is that your name, or is that your band? Or is it Victor with a different country that I've not heard of?
No typo there. Victor is the name of my alter ego.
Oh,
yeah, my name is Gabor. I'm from Hungary, from Budapest. Basically this but the project, so far I had 2 releases in 2014 and in 2018. The first one on Lemongrass Music, which is a German label, and the second one is was released on Audio Bulb Records, which is a UK-based label. and the music itself is this detail-driven kind of organic electronica of some sort. And basically, from the very first time, I think I started to tour or play gigs abroad immediately. Mostly like self-organized gigs, and then smaller festivals, then meet festivals, and so on. But at the same time, it started as some sort of a DJ act slash like electronic sort of kind of mixing live looping into it, and in the meantime it turned out or more turned towards a multitasking live act where I'm handling acoustic drums and synths and groove boxes and the microphone and like you name it. So it's like
you're already very busy with just the performing side of things.
Yeah. I mean, I am, but it's something which feels to be very organic from my side. Like it was never planned to be something. Like it was never planned to do this or that. It just came and it feels honest for me.
And how did you find the questions that
yeah, the questions were nice questions, like especially towards or about the top 3 career aspirations, because it made me think what exactly is what I want to achieve. And to be honest, I already work as a full-time musician. Like this is my job. Like I do sound design for other bands or projects, or I'm playing with another band as well. So this part is kind of like there's a check mark, I would say, yeah, but it's not the point. Like the point is to for me personally, like to have a team around me, which should be like beneficial to both sides, like also for like a booker or a manager, but also for me, obviously. So kind of
I
like
think that's a pitfall if you try to do everything by yourself, and if you let it go on too long, then it's not something that can be sustained, and it's often
exactly.
advantage, because just like in all areas of life, they want nowadays it's being promoted that you have diversity in everything you do. It gives new ideas and new perspective, but also can free you to do more of what it is that you want to be doing, you know?
Yeah. So I had this interesting thought about myself, like what is the perfect excuse I will be able to have? And like the answer was that maybe I just haven't had luck, like just luck as it is. So I made this note to provoke luck. I was like, let's do that.
Well, I think you've had luck, but that's me being Mystic Meg here. But like,
yeah.
You're sitting here, you're like, but you know, it shows, doesn't it, that as you get more experienced and more things that used to be really like a, you know, if you looked at it through child's eyes, you become a little bit used to them and you don't appreciate them necessarily as much, or they're not the goals that you felt mattered enough. So that's something that is very important, because if you're going to end up being satisfied personally, that's another, your personal and your business objectives. But I'll move on. I'd like to speak to Leah. If you don't mind, Leah, do you have anything to say about the looking, especially with your busy mind and all your experience? Did you have trouble with the questions that I posed? Oh, you're muted still. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, remember me and Zoom? Yeah. So actually, didn't have a problem getting them down quickly, because, you know, being a teacher, and I've been doing this for quite some time, so I'm kind of fast with that. I was very astonished with what I wrote down on what do I hope to get out of these sessions.
Okay.
So I wrote down, naturally, I want to network, but I wanted to find out why do we fail in not making it? Because since I may be like the oldest artist being around, meaning that, like I said, we've been around for 10 years now, and it's our 4th album plus some collaborations, and yet we haven't been able to have a proper breakthrough. So that was very difficult for me to write, because it was very easy. Our aspirations and strengths and development areas were very easy for me.
Yeah.
When you do a lot of applications and when you submit to a lot of things, get accustomed to it by now. So I've put down so many applications this past 3 months that I can write down about us in a matter of minutes. But then why we keep failing? And then I heard what Fixture said, that, and what you've been discussing about provoking luck. I had been easy sleeping at night thinking it's okay, we're just unlucky and a little bit poor. So if we were richer and if we had more money, which actually provokes luck, it'd be better. But to be honest, and it doesn't have to do with an imposter syndrome. It has to do with the fact that I constantly think there is an area that could take a little bit of betterment. And I constantly want to find out where it is that we are mistaken, because some of it has to be our fault. We must be doing something wrong.
So you know that like part of having a mentor is being able to take other people's points of view on board, and also, you know, good and bad. Perhaps, just an observation, you should consider, or you could consider, the very thing where you said that you can write these applications pretty much with your eyes shut, very automatically. I think that's the key to where it might be going wrong. Just putting it out there, because I think that do you know what I mean if I say you may be becoming a bit jaded by something? Do you know what that means? Like, if you're jaded, it's like I was in one of my jobs, you know, I was thinking, I used to say, well, I loved what I was doing, but honestly, I could have gone out and done the shopping, done the ironing, made dinner for the kids, and done my job all at the same time. And so that's why I wanted to move to another job, because even though that doing all that multitasking to many people who haven't had the experience of doing those things together could be like, oh my goodness, she can do all that. But I'd done it so long, a bit like you and your comfort zone experience, that it's not coming from that enthusiastic place. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I don't know you and I don't know, but I'm just saying it could be that having new people coming to you to look at what you do, or even to write something for you, or to interview you about what you do and how you do it, could because look at this conversation, Victor's comment has made you think like about creating luck. But that's just an aside, but that's very interesting, I think. Do you have anything else you want to say? I hope I haven't insulted you or anything. I didn't mean to. I have.
No. It's very, very interesting, actually, because we had 3 reviews yesterday, and it's kind of important because our album is 1 year old, so it's like a birthday, and we had some very important reviews, and one of them was entitled 5 Greek artists, anyway, 5 new exciting albums that seek a specific audience. So I am actually taking what you said, and I'm taking it a step further. It seems like, yes, I am a little bit jaded, and I'm a little bit fed up of trying. That gets you tired along the way. But what is most important is that it does take off some of the enthusiasm when you try to squeeze yourself inside the prefixed questions, let's say, of a festival. It does take off a little bit of your love for what you're doing and generosity, that you want to perform, you want to be generous, you want to share things, but then they keep asking you the same question, and sometimes you don't fit in those answers. You don't. Some of us play a genre that's not very well to explain, like this question, what type of music do you play? I need a paragraph to explain what I do. So
but that's very interesting. So just talking about it, this is definitely a goal. How can you more succinctly get people to understand what you do without all the words? So that's something you can work on. And also if you want to find your audience, they don't need to know as many words if they are your audience, because there will be you will have something in common with them already that they will understand. And I'm being really cryptic because I can't explain myself more fully, but if I do a crude analysis, you know, like if there's certain genres of bands, so if you said, okay, you like The Cure, you might like Susie and the Banshees, I don't know, do you know what I mean? Or you like Slipknot, you might like another band. Or you like instrumental guitars, you might like this band or that band, and that just says it all because you've done it. So, but we won't go into more detail yet on that. But I find all this very interesting, by the way. But I am a people person. If this is getting too deep and too intimate for anyone, please say. But I think I still need to speak to Eva. Is that right, Eva, with your experience? And then I can move on. I can't remember exactly what I had next, but it's on my slide, so that's good.
I suppose I'm going to be talking for me and Petra because we're both singing. So yeah, about the questions, it wasn't that hard, but it's interesting to me that the first thing that came to my mind was the like opposite or negative things, let's say something like that. When I wrote down like strengths, all I could think about are weaknesses or something that we do badly or something like that. So I really resonated with Leah when she talked about why are we failing, what are we not doing everything the best we can. But I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, I mean, that's okay. We're all human beings. I mean, we all try so hard to maintain our and to create our music and maintain the career we're trying to have and live from that. I mean, I believe most of us have like wrote down to make money from our music. So
totally. That's like one of the main goals. In order to remain a musician or in the business of music, you need to be able to make money from it. So normally we feel like, oh, you shouldn't be all about money, but it's a very important part of this business of music.
So I think maybe the most important thing that I wrote down was the answer to that question: what are we expecting from the mentors? And because I was thinking about all the negative things and bad things that we do, I think I want to have someone. I don't know how to explain, but when someone experienced tells you, like, packs everything in one box, this is bad, then you kind of become more conscious about it.
But do you see how like it's important that you think about these things before you have the sessions, because these things, it's about what it is now. And I can understand, again, I'm not a musician, right? I never dared be a musician. So I think you're very, very courageous to go that rather than to just get a job in the music industry like I do. But it's okay to feel negative about it, to think negatively. You know, I think that it's one of the common interview questions that they say, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And you say, well, my weaknesses, and then you turn it into a strength. You know what I mean? That old thing. I can't remember how you do that, but I think it's good. And don't be afraid of your weaknesses, but you do need to think about your strengths. Like I can think of some, hey, you know, we are not afraid to apply for something like the Hemi Music Awards, and we have hope and trust in our luck that, you know, that at least if we apply, we may get to the next stage. If we don't apply, we will never know. And we made it this far. I mean, it's like, that's without even knowing you in your music. So, all right, I'm going to move on.
Maybe if Petra wants to add something,
Can I just add some things? Because I just love how me and Eva, like generally in band as a duo, are really the same, but in a lot of point of views we're kind of different, and I love how we kind of balance each other, because I love these questions just in a way that they gave me like a point of view that maybe things are better than I think there are. So I went a little bit the positive way, but I love the balance we have because it always takes you to the objective reality. yeah, for me, this questions were kind of, some were harder, some were easier, but I generally think that I think the top 3 strengths were my easiest question to answer, because I believe that if you have something a little bit different or authentic, you need to use it in your own like positive way. But yeah, I can completely again agree with Eva and all the negative thoughts, because we all have, you know, and good and bad. It's just depends on the day which one will take us.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Does anyone have anything else that they're bursting to say or to share before I move on? No? All right, let's see if this still works. Okay. So the next section that my key change notes spoke about for mentees was called reviewing methods. The need to prepare by reflecting on your past experiences in order to develop understanding, allowing one to consider future needs, explore options and strategies with the mentor's input. So the way you can start this process is by considering the following prefixes to sentences. I am experiencing difficulty with X. In terms of support, I may need, I want to develop my skill or my skills in, what would you suggest? Things that have gone well are, how can I find out more about, I've appreciated your support and ideas on. So framing what you want into a question will also help you to feel more comfortable when speaking to an expert. We have various degrees of confidence sharing with strangers, and especially talking deeply and perhaps saying something that which perhaps we feel isn't our best attribute or a concern that's a bit private, like I'm afraid that if I don't make money from this, I may have to give it up. I mean, that's like the worst, right? And no one wants to talk about that. So it's about how you phrase it. So I can't necessarily remember who said what, but I'm experiencing difficulty with working out how I can, like Alicia said, how I can keep this fantastic friendship I have with my band when we make this a business. And then you think, why? Well, because I'm the person that's more comfortable speaking, but then I might be the one doing more work or making more decisions or being seen as bossy or taking too much care of the money, or 4 of us are doing something and 3 of them just do nothing. They just, you know, or out of 7 of us, we have a problem with the copyright splits, for example. Maybe one of you thinks, I don't think it's fair that in my group of 7 people that we all split the copyright 7 ways equally when I write all the lyrics, Freddie and Johnny write all the music, and the other 4 play. You can't say just play, but perform, but don't do it. So there's all these decisions. So I would encourage you to think about the business of music, like what it is you might need to do, like I don't know, a business bank account or the copyright splits and all these different areas of understanding, finding gigs, booking the venues, booking the vans, the rehearsal spaces, whatever it is. But these might be things that you may need to talk about further. And then, of course, there's the mentorship journaling and evaluation. So in order to make the most out of your mentoring experience, it's important to practice a habit of journaling, meaning writing things down with a pen and paper, but also you can use your computer, but a way to you're going to have lots of experiences like this we're having now. Whilst it's just this, but what if you have another meeting tomorrow and then another one the next day? And then you get all mixed up and you were going to write notes and then they don't become as important. So you have to be quite diligent, or I recommend that you are quite diligent about how you make notes. And it's fine to disagree, right? Like I totally don't know everything. So if you can, try to set aside time to write down feedback immediately after each session with your mentor, with your expert. And then the mentorship journal sheet allows you to self-review. And it is through this process you learn, develop, and more importantly, take ownership of the process. And you can then reflect, recognize achievements, analyze practices, and identify areas for development. Okay. And then the common questions. What have I achieved? So these are, this could be at any point in the process. You might want to ask yourself regularly, what have I achieved? You might say, I spoke on the call today. That's like if you were my daughter, this would be like mega to speak on a call like this. So, you know, what have been difficult areas when something's happened? What analysis has come from? So we've already spoken about where, like Leah can look at how she feels when she's trying to put something where you can only write, I don't know, 500 words and she has 5 million words. What is the analysis of that and what can she do to get those 500 words in a way that she feels just as happy about or whatever? So what have I learned from that? What do I need to change so I can? And what do I need to develop to allow me to, whatever it may be. And for logging the experience, it's a chance for reflection and analysis to concentrate on key learning points. For support and development needs, you have to be quite specific. Difficulties that were encountered and how they were resolved. Identifying strengths and achievements and successes. Now, bear in mind, this is like a workshop. This is not meant to be a mentor session in itself, right? So when you have your expert sessions, they will be far more relevant to what are your goals, talking about things, you know, making sure you want to know what to talk about, but also making the notes and evaluation and the things I just said, not very clearly, but you know what I mean? So it's a bit different. This is a workshop, not the actual session. So that was my whole section. I think it's taken an hour, just about mentoring and working with your experts and trying to make the most of this whole Hemi experience. And I hope that this part has encouraged you to take a step back before the rest of the program starts, to just talk to each other, talk to your band members if you're not all the band's going to be at every call, but just to ask yourself the questions. I can try to make a PDF of my notes with all the details if you keep them internally, and I make sure Olga gets those so you can ask the questions. And you know, because as I said, I think they were really good questions that we can all use. Before we go on to networking, does anyone have anything they'd like to ask me or talk about or share with anyone from this? No? All right. So networking. Who networks? Do you all network? Yeah. And how do you network? Does anyone want to give me some examples of how what they're using? Leah, I saw your hand up. Oh, you were just like, you're like waving. Yeah, okay. There's also lots of notes in the chat, which I have not been reading at all. So if they're relevant, let me just see. Oh yeah, yes, please. PDF notes. Yes, sorry about this. All right, good. Okay, so can someone tell me how they network and what networking means to them? Because I'm mindful that I network very much in the business, and I'm happy to share with you how I do that and how you can do it with this experience. But first, I just want to be sure that we're on the same page with what you think of networking and how you do it, if you do it at all right now. Blaž, can I just ask you to speak without embarrassing you?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
So what do I think networking is, or this is the question?
Do you feel the need to network? Do you network to get the band where it needs to be? Do you do anything in that way?
Yeah, I feel that networking is essential because the business is very wide and you can do all by yourself. So I think it's very important. So we have networked with a producer when we were recording an album because we couldn't do it ourselves. We were networking with venue owners, with light designers, also managers. So that's it.
And how do you go about networking with them? Can you give me an example? Let's say there's a producer you want to work with. How do you find that producer and how do you reach them?
So we found our producer through work he's done in his past. So we liked the albums he produced, and we just sent him a mail. And then we met and talked a bit, listened to some music, take it easy, and then started the project.
Wow, that sounds amazing. That's like a dream that you sent the mail and they replied and then you worked with them. Did you have a common ground or something that helped that person to pay attention to your email?
Yes, because he already heard of us, so that was a big part. He also
that's important, yeah.
He also knew the producer we were networking previously, so
very good.
That was about it, I think.
No, but that's not nothing. That's really brilliant networking, because in my experience, things happen if you go about them the right way and if you think about what it is you want to achieve before you need to achieve it. You know, you can't just send an email to someone which you didn't do and just say, hey, I want to work with you, because you'll be ignored. But you found one or two entry points. So that's, we'll park that, but I think that's brilliant. You're obviously quite good at networking already, so good for you. Who shall I go to first? Okay, Dina.
Yeah, I would say that a good networking place to be is like our showcase festivals.
Oh yeah.
I started by going to Pin Music Conference, which is in Skopje, in my hometown. And then I went like to different showcase festivals around the Balkan countries. And that's how I met many people. And I don't believe in showing my face in everyone, you know, like being like, hey, listen to my music. I like hanging out with people, and I believe that's the right way to network, just by like meeting the people, artists, and like bookers and agents, just like hanging out, meeting them, and then everything else will come naturally. And I've seen results from that, because like for 2 years I've been doing that, and I see every new year I have shows in different places. I toured around the Balkan countries. Last week I played in Ment Festival. So I believe everything is like, Ment is in Slovenia. Yeah, so I believe that's the right way, at least for me. Be
it is the right, yeah. Very good. So that's also another good way. So it's about being in the right places where you'll be able to come in contact with the right people, but then it's about finding the balance between getting people to pay attention to you and being an annoyance or whatever, like be embarrassing yourself or something. And I would say for the sort of these festival conference type places, then the beauty is that nowadays they tend to have the delegates online, or, you know, if you're paying to go, you can get the delegates database, and you can write to various people in advance. So, for example, it's really like getting a job every time you're there, even though it's not a job. So there will be certain people. Well, first you're going to look at who's going. Bear in mind, a lot of people don't fill in their profiles. You will fill in your profile, right? You will fill in your profile. If you're going officially, you'll write all about you and give everyone all the tools they need to get in touch with you. You'll then scroll through whomever is going to be there and all the bands that are being there, and you'll make your program, and sometimes you'll strategically find that you're in this place or that place at the same time as so and so. But you can also either if they have an email address, write an email to them, or you can do it through the delegates database. Bearing in mind, again, not everyone is diligent about the databases, so you may be ignored, but it's okay. Just as long as you always do the right thing, that's a good thing. Then it's very much about saying, I am going to be at the Mint conference festival. My band is playing at this time. I appreciate that you're going to maybe have other bands coming, but it would be lovely if you could just spend the time. Or you could say, I saw your band play this place, or I saw your band play 5 years ago at that place, which might mean something, just something that shows that you know who they are, but also that you're not sending out the same email to every single person who is there. And I've said this before, no matter how big you become, or how networked you are, or how successful you are, I still think there are very few people who don't give a SHIT about who's liking them, who's following them, who's making a specific comment to say they like something. And when they're particularly impassioned, when you do something really good, like I went to see, I'm showing my age, but I went to see a band called the Water Boys, which none of you will have heard of, I think, because they're from the 80s when I was a teenager, right? So, but they mean a lot to me. It's this fantastic band, the Water Boys, and I thought they were going to be they were playing in, I live in the Netherlands. I thought they were good. I thought it was going to be a sad show. I thought it was going to see these people who I loved as a teenager being a bit old. So I didn't really look at how they are now. But I thought I'm going to go because it's the Water Boys. And honestly, it was the best show. Oh, I was so high. I think I was still buzzing for a good half day afterwards. But this is the funny thing. I then afterwards, I found them on Instagram, which I hadn't done before. And I even wrote I wrote a message via Instagram just to say how lovely it was that I'd had that evening and that they are still amazing. And I have such nice memories. It's such a teeny bopper thing to do, right? It's like, but that's the power of music, isn't it? And emotion and everything. And I say to myself, okay, Mike Scott's not going to reply and say, thank you, Mandy, I saw it and I'm really glad you had a nice evening. But I like to say to myself that he saw that and he knows that he still got it, even though he's 60 something now. And he did a brilliant thing, not just for me, but for all those old people. And that keeps him going, keeps him making music. And that's sort of, if you can treasure your network, even though he's not in my network, bear in mind that people care, right? They really do care. And that's the same, I think, with when you make relationships with people at conferences. Before I go to the next point, I must say, remembering names is really important. It's quite hard to do, and it's not as easy as it used to be with business cards. So, but you younger people are probably good at typing really quickly or taking photos of people's numbers or whatever it is you have to do. But you have to sort that out and make sure you know people, who they are, and that they can find you. And don't ever do it so that another little aside, my dad has photographic exhibitions, and he's like 84, someone said that they wanted to quite strangely buy one of his prints, and they took his number or something, and he told me that he was really just, they seemed so excited, but they hadn't contacted him. What he should have done, and he said this himself, he said what he should have done is said, let me have your number so that I can send you whatever it is. And then the ball is in your court. So I suppose it's like a date, really, isn't it, or something? But you see what I mean? It's like, don't leave it open-ended. Just do everything you can without pushing someone, but also, I suppose, taking the messages if you think they're fobbing you off and they're not interested. So those are my little anecdotes. Alice, Alice, I think you were first, and then Petra afterwards.
Yeah, I would like to agree with Dina that with the networking, the most important thing is like to create a relation with the person, not to just put your music there and it be too much. But I would also like to add something you've already started talking about, but social media, actually, because Blas was talking about this cooperation. Like, for me, it wasn't like networking. It was more like it was already cooperation, you know, like the networking is something that brings you to the possibility of working together. And once I've texted the producer I really liked on Instagram, and I've said like, why do I admire him, and explain it that I'm admire his work. And then like he texted me back, and then after like few messages, I offered him a cooperation, actually, and he said yes, that he's really like excited, and he would like to do this because he likes the music and all of that. And the social media, I think, is like can be really effective, yeah, exactly. Because conferences and festivals and showcases are also like super important, but it is much easier to like talk to someone if you're already there. And it's
you have to find the right social media to suit you. So like I'm not a TikToker, as you can imagine, but I'm Facebook, that's more my age, right? But Instagram, I don't really think of putting photos or anything there. But I revert to it sometimes. You know what I mean? But for me, my network is LinkedIn. That's the most amazing music business professional network for me, and it will be for you for certain parts of what you're going to do to get you to where you want to be now with the business. So you're going to have, on the one hand, like as a band, you're going to find where your fans are and where the fans you want to have are and what they use and what's the best way to do that. But professionally, there will be a different language, so to speak, that you will need to adhere to. Like if you want to, I don't know, if you want to be put on like as like you want to play at Eurosonic and you want to contact the chief of programming at Eurosonic, it's probably not the best idea to say oi or hey, la la la. You may want to have someone, say your manager, right? Or you want to do it with more of a professional and a different way of coming across, and being mindful of how that communication develops. And this is something, again, that you may or may not need guidance in how to do it. But you also, just the other thing, and I know I seem a bit like everybody's mum here, but also when you make these relationships on social media, you and even if it's with a well-known producer, I still don't think you should meet someone on your own necessarily. You need to think of safety, and I'm sorry to be a mummy in this, but you do need to think of being safe, and that this is that the person is who you think they are, and that they're trustworthy. And always be, just like you would with any other relationship, be careful of parting with your money, be careful of signing something, make sure you have contracts, you know what I mean? This is like, just be really even be careful of your copyright splits and the agreements and all this. This is something that's frightening for anyone, but having someone who can represent you, even if it's a aunt or uncle or brother or sister, you know what I mean, just having someone who can take care of that side for you is also quite important. So don't be too guarded, because that will affect your wish to succeed, but be safe. I know it's cliched, but I wanted to say that. Okay, so Petra.
Okay, yeah, so I just kind of want to tune into this conversation and kind of give one question. But yeah, I completely agree with Dina. I think that even in my opinion, I think that meeting people, feeling their energy, seeing if kind of you have the same vibe, I think that's like in general the best thing for the long-term relationship and generally like music relationship. But for me and for us, what maybe is one problem, it's like how to network with people who are booking bands for festivals, people who organize festivals and stuff like that. Because in the perception of like a musician to musician, a collaboration to collaboration. For us, it's kind of easier to do that, and we kind of know where we are. But when it comes to being a little bit pushy and have to a little brag yourself and show yourself and kind of find your way in all of those how do you say, in all of those mass of bands, you know, my question is like, what is the most like proper way? How would you represent yourself to people who are booking bands and not be too pushy, not be too, I don't know how to say, but what do you think it's like a good approach for that, if you personally don't know anybody who can connect you with somebody, like, you know, just to go straight forward to somebody somewhere far and be like, this is what we do.
Agents need bands, right?
Yeah.
Without bands, they have no one. And then venues or conferences and events need bands. So it's this cycle. I have the least experience of actually getting involved in the live sector myself. So this is some, but there are many people involved with Hemi who are very deeply involved with it. I would say that there are probably, to begin with, there must be support groups, like as in, so for example, there are songwriter composer associations that you can join, and then there's you know, if you're a writer, there's the collection society in your territory, and there's all the things that are offered in that regard, and then there will be certain agencies probably in your territory or territories that will get bands on their roster. So obviously, to try to do that would be something, or to find a band who is on a certain roster. That could be another way in. So if there's a band that you know is of a similar genre that's doing well, or there's something slightly similar enough to latch on to, and you think they may be doing well, and you then ask them who they're with, and if they might, like, not only writing anonymously, but who is the agent there who takes care. It's very much about being very targeted.
Okay.
You know, but it's a trail, and you know, I know the answers are out there if you're focused on what it is you want to achieve, but what you it's a bit like someone saying, I want to work in the music industry, and thinking they'll get a job. It's much more specific to that, you know. It's like, I want to work in music publishing, in royalty collection, for example, will get you there closer. Leah, do you have your hand up? Do you have some good advice? Go on. Don't forget to unmute yourself, Mrs. Zoom. Okay.
So am I okay?
Yeah,
Did I
you're
do it
good. You're
correctly?
good.
Great. Third time's a charmer. So I wanted to say exactly what you're saying, and here's an advice. I've been doing this for quite some time. You can do some friendly band espionage, like find a band that you really like, or that you think has done relatively better than you in the genre that you're playing, and track them down. I mean, follow them. I don't, you know, you can follow someone on Facebook, on the social media, and see where they play. So that creates a map. You can then go to the venue where they played, and it only takes a few clicks. Just find out who the, you know, when you have an event on Facebook, you get to have some people who organize this event. So that probably is the manager or the bar owner, or even check the comments, check the tags. These people are there. And from my experience, because we've been touring pre-COVID as best as we could, there are some countries that is very difficult to get into their booking agencies. Like Italy is one of them. It's very difficult to tour Italy if you don't have a booking agent. So the best way to get through to booking agents is befriend yourselves with bands. Like, I'm playing in Budapest on the 18th of May, and the band who booked this is a band from Budapest. They're called Na Na Na, and we played with them on 2019. They had another band, but their bass player liked us, and they texted, hey, you know what, when you come back, just let us know. And right now we are creating a small network of bands around places. Like, the people who have invited us in France, and they booked us 2 shows in Luxembourg as a band who actually liked us. So get through to bands that are relative to what you do, but please don't be selfish. I mean, you can ask for favors, but be open and be true to giving them something back. I mean, follow them and listen to their music, and get to their shows and be true, be honest. And that's like because I've been to showcases and I've stuck with people for 2 or 3 days talking to them and discussing things. And then I've tried their LinkedIn, and these were people that we were supposed to meet and do stuff, and no reply.
Because, yeah, but don't get put off. But like, honestly, again, I don't say, but it's a reality check. Not everyone is reliable as I am, or Olga is in the music industry, right? In fact, there's a lot of really good people and very reliable people, but there's a lot of people who aren't. But there's also people who are less desk bound, who don't sit in front of their computers. They don't have as much time to attend to correspondence as some of us do. So there's this mantra. I have this mantra which I want you all to remember. And when I think someone's done something that makes me upset, like, or irritated me, like Leah, when you said, well, so-and-so said, Olga said that she would contact me by the end of the weekend and she's not, then I say to myself, it's not all about you, Mandy. It's like the best thing I've ever done, because I'm really sensitive. And so I always think, oh, they don't like me, or they don't do this, or la, la, la. But then I just think, no, it's not about you. Like, I've learned enough in my older age now that it's really rarely about me. It's because their car broke down, or because their child was ill, or because they had to do something, or because, and the last thing that it normally is that they don't like me or care about me, or they're going to let me down. So rather than going to the glass half empty solution, come from the glass half full. And let's say so-and-so said that they would contact you. You don't want to be too persistent, but you can then write to them and you can say, hi, so I'm sure you're really busy, but I just wanted to tell you that, do you remember I told you about that I was possibly going to be touring in Hungary next month? I've now booked that tour. Let me know if you want to get in touch. So then you're even though you think it's a bit deceitful, but you do think, bloody hell, they should have contacted me and it's their loss, and you just say that to yourself while you're doing the washing up. That's what I do. But then you don't let them know that. You just say, you just think, well, it's their loss. It's not my loss. This has happened and they're going to miss the boat. And then you come across as someone who's more fun to be with and a bit happier anyway. And it happens or it doesn't happen. But promise me, you just say to yourself, it's not all about me, or it's not all about you. And I think that solves nearly every issue I have. Not everyone, but most issues. I think we're mindful of time. So Petra, if you want to finish up, and then if anyone has anything else they want to say, I think then we're probably, I've lost the time, but I would say we're probably coming up to dinner time for us Europeans here.
Yeah, that's probably it for me. But yeah, I definitely love the advice for the mantra. It's like, don't take things personal, just it's easier for you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and it does get, like, honestly, I just don't want people to wait until they're my age to get over it, because it's just not worth it. So I really hope you say that mantra now, because thinking things it's not worth it. So does anyone have anything else they want to say? And actually, may I put you on the spot, Victor? Can I ask you, did you find this session useful? Because you are possibly, apart from Leah, maybe one of the most experienced, and I hope that this wasn't too basic for you, what we were talking about. Maybe with your wisdom you have something to add, or
it is never too basic. I mean, it's a fact of life that you are learning until you're not on this planet anymore. So it's very obvious. There are always some wisdom for me waiting as well. But I wanted to add regarding this networking, that what I'm realizing constantly and all the time is that behind every email and behind every profile, whichever social media it is, there's always a person. It's the same thing. They are doing something. This is their job or their passion. So if you're able to contact anyone, just do that, because it's possible.
Well, thank you. Honestly, I think this is one of the nicest sessions I've ever done. You were so cooperative and such lovely people that I'm really glad that I'll be able to follow how it goes. Maybe you'll get me as a mentor, so careful what you wish for. But I wish you all the very, very best. I think you're all going to be amazing anyway. Well, you are amazing, but your music is going to shine through. And Olga, thank you for organizing this. And I will try to make a PDF of my notes so that you can share it, you know, and then you have it. So with that, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a lovely evening and the rest of the week. Okay.